Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about one of the important topic in systems physiology about autonomic nervous system or neural system. You know, autonomic neural system. You know, just for understanding, we'll take two cases. In case one, I'm waiting for a bus. When the appropriate bus comes, I would get inside the bus. You know what exactly happens in this phenomenon? First, the sensory information has been transferred from my eyes to the CNS through efferent neurons. Then the central nervous system will process the same and will send a motor information to the effector organs. That means the skeletal muscles here, what we call voluntary action. Okay, through efferent neurons. That means the action is consciously perceived. It is voluntarily done. It's about somatic neural system. But in case of just case 2, just suddenly all of a sudden a wild beast jumped in front of me. You know what happens? Generally, I would like to, that means I would run away from that situation. You know, in first case, it's a consciously perceived phenomenon and it's a time-taking process. I have to wait for the bus, then look for the bus, then get inside the bus. But in the second case, the wastage of time should be prevented in order to save the life. And for that, there should be a specialized neural system that is called autonomic neural system. Will be discussing about autonomic neural system point by point. How, in what way does it plays an important role, and it completely an involuntary action. That means which doesn't involve our consciousness. The crux point of autonomic neural system is to avoid the wastage of time and to save lives. You know, regarding the basics, you know, the neural system categorized into two ways, say central nervous neural system and peripheral neural system. Okay, central neural system and peripheral neural system. Peripheral neural system again of two kinds. One, somatic, and two, autonomic. It is somatic again as sensory and motor. This is completely voluntary. In case of autonomic, that is usually involuntary. In of two kinds, sympathetic to parasympathetic. In case of central nervous system, it is brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system involves cranial nerves and spinal nerves. So there are 12 pairs in case of human being. Cranial nerves, spinal nerves are 31 pairs. We're not going into the detailed discussion regarding the classification, but for understanding how autonomic nervous system is different from other systems. In case of CNS, the brain and spinal cord are the subdivisions of central neural system. Whereas in the peripheral neural system, it is that the essential components of peripheral neural system are the cranial nerves. Like there are 12 pairs in human being. Whereas in the spinal nerve, there are 31 pairs. Say for example, cervical 8 pairs, thoracic 12 pairs, the lumbar 5 pairs, sacral 5 pairs, and coccygeal 1 pair. That means 31 pairs in case of spinal nerves. And again, it has two subdivisions, one the somatic and two autonomic. The somatic neural system is completely voluntary. The first case we have discussed, in the previous example, it is somatic neural system, sensory and motor. The sensory information and the motor information. It's like about somatic. Whereas autonomic, it is involuntary. It is again of sympathetic and parasympathetic. The sympathetic and parasympathetic are contradictory in nature, or opposing to each other. That means, for example, if it increases the heart rate, it will decrease the heart rate. actually dual systems. The two systems, for example, the different involuntary organs, they innervated by both these sympathetic and parasympathetic, but the mode of action is opposite. For example, increase the heart rate or decrease the heart rate. Say if it constricts the blood vessels, it relaxes like that. That means, yeah, we'll be discussing about in the sympathetic neural system in the present class, then the parasympathetic in the next class. Okay, for understanding and for clarity. These are both the divisions, and the most significant aspect of autonomic nervous system, how it becomes involuntary. That means why we have to consider autonomic nervous system as involuntary action, because it includes cardiac, smooth muscles and glands, simply called viscera. For example, I move my hand, it is completely voluntary. If I don't like, I will keep it. That means I will rest my hand if I don't like. But in case of digestive system, say like GIT, gastrointestinal tract, or the movement of heart, that means heartbeat, it's completely involuntary. That means this autonomic neural system, which completely involuntary in nature, that is essential for that means saving of lives. Whereas somatic nervous system is completely voluntary, what we call optional or choice. But here autonomous, there is no choice. Completely is essential. We will discuss how it become involuntary and what are the essential components involved here. Okay. In case of neural system, for anything, just like hormones in endocrine system, in neural system, neurons are the crux points. That means they are the basic pillars. Now, in case of neural system, neurons are the basic pillars. In case of autonomic neural system, I have discussed why it became autonomic in nature. There are most important components in autonomic neural system called interoceptors. Interoceptors. Interoceptors, they are present in the viscera. Like GID, heart. They send information to the central neural system regarding the internal state of the body, simply called just information regarding the viscera. Interoceptors, they simply the receptors. Say adrenergic receptors, nicotinic receptors. Adrenergic receptors, for example, it is for epinephrine. Nicotinic receptors is for acetylcholine, what we call cholinergic neurons. They are adrenergic neurons. That means here neurons have their own receptors. That means here broadly they are considered as interoceptors. For example, if the neuron is adrenergic neuron, and the kind of receptors are alpha and beta adrenergic receptors. If the neurons are cholinergic neuron, that means they have nicotinic receptor. What are cholinergic and adrenergic? For example, if a particular neuron releases acetylcholine as neurotransmitter, we already knew that acetylcholine is an excitatory or stimulatory neurotransmitter. Say just like GABA, it is gamma aminobutyric acid, which is inhibitory neurotransmitter. If the neurotransmitter is acetylcholine, such neurons are known as cholinergic, and their receptors are known as nicotinic receptors. There are different subdivisions are there. I am not going to the detail. Okay, just nicotinic receptors. Just like for here in case of adrenergic neuron, that means there the neurotransmitter is adrenaline or epinephrine, noradrenaline or norepinephrine. Such receptors are known as alpha and beta adrenergic receptors. Say alpha 1, alpha 2, beta 1, beta 2, like that. Okay. Alpha, beta adrenergic receptors in case of epinephrine, and nicotinic receptors in case of cholinergic neurons. So these are interoceptors. I told you already. In general neural system, the neurons are the basis, but here interoceptors are the life-saving machineries. This reception is essential. For example, I told you already now, a wild beast all of a sudden jumped in front of me. I have to run away. That means the movement of legs should be so fast that I should save myself. That means there should be an effective mechanism. That means it should sense the internal stimuli. That means the sensory signal should be sensed and transferred to the appropriate effect organ so fast so as to save myself. This is all is a general task of autonomic neural system. The interoceptors are the basis. This is a good mechanism. Apart from this, we have different neurons. First, we will be discussing about sympathetic, then parasympathetic. In case of sympathetic, first we will be discussing about the basics in book which are common for both sympathetic and parasympathetic, then the mechanism of sympathetic. Okay. In case of neurons associated with the autonomic neural system, we have two kinds again: preganglionic and postganglionic. Preganglionic neuron and postganglionic neuron. For understanding, just for example, how a preganglionic neuron in sympathetic nervous system would be. For example, say then this is the effector organ. This is the effector organ. So this is sympathetic neural system, and this is preganglion. This is synapse, preganglion. This is about ganglion. Ganglion is nothing but an anatomical unit in neural system which consists of cell bodies of many neurons. That's it. Cell body, it's like swelling in the nerve fiber, like swelling in a nerve along the nerve fiber. You can just imagine like just like beads on a string with respect to chromosomes. Swelling sacs are the ganglion. Okay, this is preganglion and this is postganglion. The word it implied. Pre means before the ganglion, postganglion. In case of sympathetic neural system, the preganglion is very short. In case of postganglion, it is very long. And the preganglionic are the cholinergic. That means it releases acetylcholine as the neurotransmitter. Whereas postganglionic are the adrenergic. That means they release epinephrine or norepinephrine. Epinephrine in case of circulation, norepinephrine is respect to postganglionic nerve endings. That means one is neural connection, that means epinephrine is through, or epinephrine or adrenaline is to circulatory connection, whereas norepinephrine or noradrenaline is to neural connection. Both are neurotransmitters, and since they release these two, they are known as adrenergic. That means postganglionic sympathetic neurons are the adrenergic, preganglionic sympathetic neurons are the cholinergic, because they release acetylcholine. Here they release adrenaline or epinephrine, noradrenaline or norepinephrine. This in case of parasympathetic neural system. The same here, but it is a bit different. The preganglion is longer than the postganglion. This is the preganglion. And this is a postganglion. The thing is, here it is cholinergic. This is also cholinergic. For differentiation, say we have discussed somatic neural system now, say a motor neuron. In case of, the beauty of somatic neural system is one motor neuron can innervate, that means it travels a longer distance. Say the axon of a motor neuron starts from the CNS, it goes to the appropriate effector organs. That means just one neuron, one mild neuron, it travels a long distance. In case of motor neurons, say that means somatic system. This is cholinergic. That means it also releases, that means acetylcholine as a neurotransmitter. So for differentiation, I will discuss now about interoceptors. Then in case of the common things in autonomic nervous system, that means both in sympathetic and parasympathetic, are the preganglions and postganglion. In case of sympathetic nervous system, the preganglions are short. and they're cholinergic because they release acetylcholine. Whereas in case of postganglion, they are adrenergic because they release epinephrine through circulation and norepinephrine through neural connection. So they are adrenergic. The receptors are alpha beta adrenergic receptors. Here nicotinic receptors. Okay. In case of postsynaptic, in case of parasympathetic neural system, they are preganglionic. They are cholinergic, postganglionic, but both are cholinergic. That means both release neurotransmitter as acetylcholine. That means acetylcholine is neurotransmitter. In case of motor, that means somatic system, it is also cholinergic. So cholinergic. PSNS. In case of sympathetic, this is the most distinguishing feature is the post-sympathetic ganglion is adrenergic. This is very important. This adrenergic nature, since I told you now, adrenaline hormone we discussed in the previous classes, emotional stress hormone. It means it releases during emotion stress response so as to save ourselves. This is a crux point. Why and how this autonomic neural system become involved and saves our life because of this nature. Because it releases adrenaline, it fastens the process, it fastens the action. That's the important point. Okay, this is about the neural system and the interoceptor. These are the two essential components. The neural system one, that means preganglion, postganglion, and the interoceptors. They both are associated with each other, so that leads to an effective action. Okay, regarding the mechanism, it's about the neural system, sympathetic neural system, parasympathetic, they basic or fundamental issues. As we discuss, first we will discuss about sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic neural system. Sympathetic neural system. The first question emerges, how it has been done in a most effective and important manner. Who controls it? We have discussed now. Hypothalamus is a master controller with respect to endocrine system because it controls the pituitary gland. Same here also. It is autonomic command. Say for example, there is a limbic system in our neural system, limbic cortex. Okay, the function of limbic system, that means is an integral part of cerebral hemisphere, is emotional response. It activates during stress. For example, when there is a threat, if something danger is happening, it will stimulate the hypothalamus so that an essential information will be passed by means of descending tract mechanism so that it will reach appropriate preganglion, then the postganglion, then that means adrenergic receptors, then we'll say that's the pathway. The hypothalamus, first the limbic system, the hypothalamus, then the descending tract, then the preganglion, then the postganglion, and ultimately the effector. How? The epinephrine or norepinephrine, then the ultimate mechanism. So for understanding, we will be discussing like this. First, limbic system, it will get activated because of threat perception. Then it will stimulate the hypothalamus. Then it will stimulate the preganglion of sympathetic neural system. Okay, then the postganglion, then ultimately the effector. That means simply what we call response. Okay, for understanding, we'll be drawing like this. Okay, how it ends. A rough sketch I'm drawing. The brain and spinal cord, and this is the brain stem. The brain stem. Then this is spinal cord. We knew that cervical region. I'm not drawing the cervical region. Then thoracic. This is thoracic. Thoracic T1 to 12, T12. Then the lumbar, then the sacral, okay, in the coccygeal. Lumbar L1, L2. Here, for example, say this is limbic region. This is limbic region, and this is hypothalamus, and this is hypothalamus. This is hypothalamus. Autonomic command center. Autonomic command. The limbic system, what we call emotion, it is concerned with emotions and stress. To receive different inputs, threat, all related to threat or some danger. Then it will transfer the same to hypothalamus, and this hypothalamus through a descending tract, a descending tract, a neural tract, will reach along the brain stem. It won't stimulate, it won't stimulate any region in cervical, but it stimulates in thoracic. That means only the thoracic and up to, that means entire thoracic, starting from T1 to T12, and limbic L1, L2, sometimes L3 also, but in general up to L2. That means T1 to L2. These are the stimulating region, and it will come here and it will stimulate the neurons present here. We have already discussed. They are known as first the preganglionic neurons. The preganglionic neurons. Okay. And for this I am giving for a representation for understanding. Okay. These are preganglion. Then these are the ganglions. These are the ganglions. Then the postganglion. Then the postganglion. The postganglion. Okay. This is called sympathetic chain. Sympathetic chain or ganglion trunks or ganglionic trunk. These are postganglion. These are preganglion. Okay, don't say. So the overall component is, it consists of preganglion, the sympathetic chain, and postganglion. Actually, sympathetic chains ganglion are nothing but a swellings along the nerve fiber. They consist of cell bodies of different neurons, just like beads on a string. That pair actually, one on either side of the vertebral column, another one here also. So one pair, sympathetic chain, one pair totally. One is here, another will be here. Okay. Then preganglion and postganglion. The preganglion, they synapse with postganglion in the chains, that means chain ganglion, trunk ganglion, and the postganglion they start and they will go to the effector organs. The thing is, in sympathetic nervous system, in addition to the one pair of chain ganglion, preganglion, postganglion, they also have collateral ganglion. This is called celiac. This is called anterior mesenteric. This is called posterior mesenteric. Okay. That means the post ganglion. This I am giving it a rough representation. Okay, for understanding. They innervate the celiac ganglion. That means either the post ganglion. That means the cell bodies of post ganglions have either in the chain ganglion or in the celiac ganglion. This is very important. That means the postganglionic cell bodies either present in the chain ganglion or in the axis, that means the collateral ganglion. Then the anterior ganglion. And they innervate the effector organs, The thing is, one neuron, let's say the postganglion neuron, they innervate, that we can innervate different organs in the form of branches, not just one neuron, one organ. It doesn't mean like that. Different branches. In the same case, here the preganglion that comes from one particular thoracic, it does not mean that it always goes to one, the appropriate level ganglion. Sometimes they go there, but they won't synapse. They come here, that means they come down, that means descending path. This is something very important, you know. The preganglion, they won't synapse in this particular ganglion. They go, they descend and they synapse there. That means like bunch of ganglions. That means bunch of presynaptic neurons. Somewhere or different branches. Some go down and some here like that. Some branches like that. That means it's about depending on the necessity, and they will be branched out. That means they will innervate appropriately. Say they all goes to effector organs, no? Effector organs. I will tell you, for example, no? Say the eye, say the salivary glands, the air passage, say the heart, say the liver, gastrointestinal tract, say the urinary bladder. They may innervate appropriately, you know. They innervate appropriately. Sorry. Should be, no, differently. You can take a particular note. Celiac. Generally, it is said that postganglion that comes from the chain ganglion, they innervate anterior to the diaphragm, whereas the postganglion that comes from the, you know, this collateral ganglion, they innervate posterior to the diaphragm. Posterior to the diaphragm in general, they anterior to the diaphragm. This is how ultimately they innervate different viscera. So these are all viscera. I told you now, viscera. That is why it becomes involuntary in nature, because it controls the viscera through interoceptors. That's very important, no? Through appropriate interoceptors. Now, interoceptors is very important. We will discuss the previous before it. Interoceptors. That means they are the specialized cell membrane receptors that act according to the kind of neurotransmitter releases, then save from us. That means since it involves the interoceptors of the viscera, the autonomic nervous system become involuntary in nature. This is very important. Okay, just let us take an example how it acts. You know, it's about different basic setup of how the sympathetic neural system comes into force. Say first, some stress information, some threat comes from limbic system, transfer to hypothalamus, then to descending tract it will reach the thoracic region and the lumbar, thoracic entire T1 to T12, lumbar up to L2, sometimes L3 also. Up to this only, they will stimulate the motor neurons. That means the sensory information after that, then the appropriate motor information will come. After receiving the internal sensory information, the motor neurons will come. Here, how the motor neurons will come? Just if you take the cross section of a spinal cord, you know, we knew that, you know, dorsal horn, ventral horn, like that. I'm not going to detail, okay? Just the lateral horn. Okay. The specialized cell body in the lateral horn gives rise to motor neuron. This is very important. Specialized cell body gives rise to motor neuron. We'll try like this, motor neuron. That means preganglion. Ultimately postganglion. So the spinal cord, then the preganglion it comes, then it will synapse with, in case of chain of ganglion, then a postsynaptic neuron will come, postganglion sympathetic neuron, then it will reach the appropriate viscera. That means effector organs. Effector organ contain the interoceptors. The neurotransmitter released from the postganglionic neuron will exert its action over there. It's a pathway, no? Is how. First the preganglion, then the synapse in case of chain ganglion, then the postsynaptic ganglion, then the effector, then the viscera, then there will be appropriate interoceptor. So generally the adrenergic. Here the kind of ganglion, that means neuron. In case of sympathetic, that means the postganglionic sympathetic neuron is adrenergic. Appropriate response, that means say alpha beta receptors, interoceptors, alpha beta adrenergic receptors. Then the appropriate action will be done. How? What exactly appropriate action here? This is very important. I told you already. The sympathetic and parasympathetic, they act in opposite manner. Dual system intervention actually, no? Here, what exact in sense? They both innervate both system innervate the same organ but in opposite manner. Say, in case of eye, say sympathetic will take, okay, since we're discussing about sympathetic. Pupil dilation. Pupil dilation. The first one, how it exerts effect. So the pupil dilation. Pupil dilation. In case of eye. In case of salivary glands, inhibition. Inhibition of, when we subject to stress, we feel some dryness in salivary gland. This is because of this. Then age space, bronchodilation. Bronchodilation. Heart, increased rate of contraction. Liver, it stimulates the release of glucose. Why? Because extra energy, I told you already. In case of SN, that means sympathetic neural system, the essentiality to save the organism. For that, the energy that is required should be pumped up. That means non-essential shall be inhibited, essential should be promoted. For that, regular